Ekabo, and welcome to another episode of TalkingIfá with me, Babalawo Salako. Today I have the pleasure of interviewing a young lady I've known for a long time. She's a beautiful young lady, beautiful spirit. And so she wants to come and give some of her stories related to Ifá today. So let's talk. Greetings. I'm Babalawo Salako. I was initiated as a priest of Ifá and Obatala in Nigeria in 2006, and I've been practicing the Ifá Orisa religion for over 30 years now. My mission is simple: to help those who are new to the religion or lost in the religion. So if that's you, then buckle up and join me. This is Talking Ifá. So greetings, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Your Ifá name is Olokun.
Yes.
Okay, the goddess of the
goddess
ocean.
of the oceans.
The entire ocean.
The entire ocean with wisdom, peace, hope, and great intuition, which I definitely understand to see that is who I am as the rebirth. It focuses on your rebirth. It focuses on your maturity. It's the wisdom of the ocean, the wisdom of all things, and intuition. And I definitely understand now as an adult compared to when I received this name when I was a lot younger, how it relates to who I am and my purpose in life.
Oh, that's wonderful. So tell us a little bit about when you started, your age. Well,
yes,
what's your age now,
I am 23 years old now. I started Ifá when I was around 12, 13. It was from my father. He was a part of Ifá and wanted to introduce it to my family because I had gotten really sick and we didn't really know what was happening with my body or my mind or anything that was going on. And so we wanted to, I know that my father was an Ifá, and I know that he probably noticed or kind of got a feeling that this is something that his family needed to do as well, based off of what I could be experiencing to come. So when I did get my first reading, I was young. So I was like, okay, it actually seemed pretty cool. I actually think it was pretty cool as a young person. But when I got my first reading, and the biggest thing that stood out was, letting me know that I had a sickness or something with my health. And I thought it was very interesting because we already thought something was going on with my health, but it kind of motivated us more to get more answers. And then that's when we figured out that I had cancer. And so that's like one of the biggest things I always say when it comes to Ifá, that this message in my reading helped us identify and go harder about my health than we were before. And that led us to know that I was diagnosed with cancer.
That's wonderful. And we did a lot of work for you.
Yes, a lot of work. I think it was the first couple offerings and with the animals and stuff, and I was like, oh, what's this? But it made me, even when I was young, even going through what I experienced and really just, going through my cancer and going through the readings and the offerings, I think it is what helped me stay positive. I think it is what helped me, stay alive and stay focused, because sometimes with you having cancer, it's not even about the sickness as much as it's about the spirits and your mental. And I think it did kind of give me more clarity and more ease. I had different feelings and stuff about it, but I felt like this is what I needed and my family needed to help me feel even more protected. So I think as I'm an adult now, I always go back to that first story on why I got involved and why I got my name and everything like that. So yeah.
Okay. So let's get into some stories.
Yes. So obviously my first story, which is the one, about the sickness and everything like that. But it's interesting because I still have the piece of paper. It's real old. It's real, different. But I like that it's old, and I like that it has its ruffles on it, because it shows not only my growth, but it shows what's happening in my life now. I believe it talked about sickness, but it also talked about financial abundance. It talked about, as I get older, having crowds of people celebrating me and my purpose and stuff like that. I would say my second story or feeling about it was when I got a reading about working with kids with disabilities at a special needs camp. I had never worked with kids with disabilities in my life. I knew I liked kids, but I was like, this might be a stretch, so I need to get a reading on it. And when I got a reading on it and it said yes, I was so happy. And when I started working at the camp, I automatically fell in love with working with children with disabilities. And this is when I was 18, and now I'm 23, and I am now a special education teacher working with kids with disabilities. So I feel like it was a very big, surreal moment, and I was able to really realize like that was the start of my purpose. And it's actually even funnier because the same area where I worked at the camp with kids with disabilities is now the same area where I teach, and we're in like the Hispanic area. So it's like very interesting how readings, how words, and how visions and your ancestors come together to kind of like, you know, show you what your life is going to be. Because I'm like a person, I have to see it. Like if I don't see it, I just feel like it's not going to happen because I'm a logical person. But then like I've realized with Ifá, with, you know, just continuously, you have to take time. Like things don't just happen just the next day. You have to prepare yourself in your mind, body, and soul.
Definitely. Okay. So what would you say your experiences are for things that come up that you, in a reading, that you say, well, this has nothing to do with what I'm like right now?
So I sometimes when I get well, for me, I don't get my readings every like weekly because sometimes you need time to like deal with what you just received from the past reading. So it kind of just comes up when, you know, you feel in your heart. That's when you need to get one. So sometimes when I feel confused or like have like big things I'm doing, or like, you know, if I want to continue this friendship, or if this situation is going bad, or if I need to figure out if I'm making this way with money or that, you know, just different things about like my purpose, because, you know, I am young and, you know, I am gifted. So it's important that I have direction and have like, you know, the right ways. But I would say I love all my readings. Sometimes like when I ask my questions that I know that will be no's, but like I want them to be yeses, but I know they'll be no's, I just be like, okay, well, I know it's gonna be a no, but dang, it's really a no. So I think for me, it's just kind of like helps direct me, and it never has steered me wrong. And it's very important that, you know, you listen, because if you ask a question and then it says no, and then you go against that, you will be humbled. And so I think it's also important to be humbled, because anything we do with our, you know, spirituality, our ancestors, whatever it is, like it's important to trust, you know, what is happening and not question it. And so yeah, like in college, another story, like, you know, in college, you know, college was different. I went to college during COVID, so there's a lot of stuff going on. So I think for me, I kind of was out of it. But like in college, that is the only thing that kept me safe when I was away from my family, away from everybody, you know, when I was going through a lot of, you know, different mental things. So I think even in college, like being able to know, like whenever you go in life, whenever you go anywhere, wherever you're by yourself, you know, whatever you deal with, if it's sickness, if it's heartbreak, if it's anything, it's like knowing you're protected, knowing your ancestors are protecting you, and how important it is to do your offerings, how important it is to give to, you know, your ancestors, you know, Ifá Orisa, you know, the Orishas, everything, you know, because everything is just a surreal moment. And yeah.
Okay. Do you have any specific stories?
Specific, like I said, you know, I feel like for me, everyone was a story. Every reading, everything I've experienced, like, has been, I wouldn't even say stories. I think it's just been my development into who I am. Like, I think, you know, I would say stories, like, you know, if I ask about like a particular person, like I know, like, I probably won't be messing with them, but I'm like, okay, and they say no to them, like, okay, it's kind of reassuring in a sense, because like, you know, sometimes we question our intuition, or sometimes we question our thoughts. So I think for me, not even necessarily stories, it's developed me into the woman I am today, honestly, because I think stories, like, I don't know, I think of things as signs, as messages with Ifá, like. And so, you know, as I experience it and stuff, I think, well, in college, you know, the different things with my friendships, or, you know, sometimes, you know, when you're doing good in life and, you know, you have positive things going on, a positive always attracts negatives. You're not trying to be negative, or, you know, you don't want a negative life, but the enemy always wants to see you fail. The enemy always wants to win. And so I think the biggest thing with Ifá was just protecting me and just letting me know, like, sometimes it did hurt, like sometimes, it is uncomfortable, when you do get the no's, but it's a no. Like, in your heart is a no, but your mind hasn't caught up to it yet, or your heart hasn't caught up to it yet. So I think for me, like, the biggest one would be, like, obviously my cancer, the one working with kids with disabilities, and when I travel, when I asked to go to El Salvador, that was a story. I was very scared. I never went out the country by myself before. This is my first time going out the country, period. And I thought it would be my parents, and it was just me. And so I, had to get prayers. I had to, understand. And so, that is a story, because I went and I served the community, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with giving back. I fell in love with building buildings, just seeing different things. And the ocean was there, so it's like Olokun's there too. So it's like, I think I was able to not only connect, and help others, but also connect Ifá in, like, other areas, not just in the United States, but the oceans, because it's not just in the U.S., it's wherever you go.
Definitely. Oh, that's great. Okay. So I'm trying to think of any other questions. So, like, right now, you said there was a group, though, that you...
Yes, so there was a group that I was a part of. It was a faith kind of based type of situation, and I've always been myself. I've always, trusted myself and who I am. And sometimes, I will let the words of others kind of dictate how I move and things like that. Not on purpose. I'm just a very nice person. I'm nice, and I want to stay nice, but I feel like adults and people in general have to have boundaries, because people will try to tell you who you are, and you're not that. But with this group in particular, I felt like I learned a lot of stuff about myself, but I felt like I was being taught to have boundaries as much as not stay in that group, because it kind of ended up being a group where it was controlling, like, cult type of vibe. And so I think for me, I did feel attacked. I did, once I did do my offerings, once I did, talk to Ifá about it, I did feel better, but, I felt attacked with my mind, body, and soul, and I actually was attacked physically. And so with my health and the things I had going on now, it kind of like it was just different visions I would get. Like, I would just feel uncomfortable. I would, not feel like myself. And, the people in it were nice, but I just think the leader and the way it was set up just wasn't a divine type of thing. And that's also an example, because I did ask Ifá about it, and it said, no, don't be in that environment. And I'm a very nice person. Like I said, I'm working on it, but I was humble, not in a bad way, but with my health, not even just with this situation. I think it's everything that I experienced these past couple of years, the different negative things I experienced, I released from my body. But I think I was able to understand when my health became an issue, how important it is to set those boundaries, how important it is, like, if you do feel weird about something, if your intuition is telling you something, if your ancestors are telling you something, if you're getting visions, if you even get the reading and they tell you, like, definitely always listen to your divine and what they're saying, because you never know, what happens, and you always be protected, in anywhere you go. Don't ever feel scared or like you don't have anybody with you, because your ancestors are always with you. You're always protected, you're always moving, but always listen and just get beside yourself. I'm young, so I'm learning. So, but like, just trust things and be mature about situations.
Well, that's wonderful. So I was getting ready to ask you, did you have any last advice for young people, but you was giving a lot of advice.
Take your sacred time seriously. Take your spiritual life seriously. I take mine very seriously now, especially, with my health and everything like that. But take your sacred time to yourself very well, no matter what you experience in life, no matter if you're working, no matter if you do this, got all these responsibilities, because I myself have a lot of responsibilities. But it's important that you take the time to be, with your spirituality, be with your divine, take those moments. It doesn't matter, like, if you're busy, put it in your schedule, how you put everything else in your schedule. Like, really take the time to be by yourself, really take the time to learn yourself, because as you're in your 20s, you're identifying, understanding who you will be in your 30s and 40s. And there's a lot of people I meet like, oh my God, if I was 20, my 20s, I would do so much stuff better. So it's like, I'm in my 20s, so it's like, I need to do better, you know, what they're telling me. So I think it's like trusting yourself, trusting your intuition. It's okay to be different. I think when you are spiritually mature and you're in a higher aspect than others, sometimes it's difficult to find the community. Pray for the community, pray for the love, and pray for like the support. You know, just do anything you need to do. But yeah, and just be you, and don't be afraid to be you, and release what doesn't serve you.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Wow. You were a great interview.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on
Of
Talking
course,
Ifá.
of course.
And I think everybody will enjoy this and get a lot from
Yes,
it.
well.
All right.
All right. Bye, y'all.
All right. Bye. So thank everyone for joining, and
Thank you.
hope that you subscribe and get ready for upcoming episodes.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll get
And
Miss
get his
Olokun
planner.
back.
And
Oh,
get his
yeah.
planner.
Get my planner and my calendar.
And his yes,
For
everything.
2026 is coming up.
And it's gonna be a different year, so you need the calendar. I'm just saying. But yes. Have a blessed one. Peace and blessings to you all.
All right. Peace and blessings. Odabo Ireo.
Ashe, ashe.
Ashe, ashe,
Thank
sheo.
you.